the dragon forces she is about to pass. McDaniel's act of grace, or Campbell's amulet, in effect symbolizes a passing of the scepter. By passing the scepter, McDaniel builds a bridge upon which Horn, the ingenue, can travel. McDaniel's sharing of the history of Negro images in film within her hearth and home, with this newly appointed symbol of Negro womanhood, conjoins the tradition of the mammy with that of the contemporary ingenue. What does the linkage of these two symbols mean? In the African context, McDaniel acts as the community elder who encourages the new and vibrant youth in its endeavors. According to Malidoma Patrice Sommet, the very old honor youth as the source of collective physical stability and strength as recent arrivals. The overarching significance of the response and meaning, however, is the homage paid to film ancestry. To continue in the African context, Sommet regards the ancestor as one whose way is that of tradition. She explains, tradition is the manner in which those who lived before once walked and talked, the knowledge and practices that allowed them to live long enough to bestow life upon others. This is crucial to life, because to forget the way life used to be lived is to become endangered. To look to the old ways is to avoid death. In addition, McDaniel's move to initiate the meeting signifies her recognition of the need for Negro sisterhood in times of crises. In the transmission of history from one Negro actor to another, both Horn and McDaniel acknowledge the imperative of tradition in the whirlwind of radical change. By opening her mouth to speak up and out to Negroes within a film industry that has marginalized their presence, and by accepting McDaniel's invitation, Horn locates herself within the community of actors rather than standing apart from them. Dorothy Dandridge, the dance of the black female child entertainer. As international star and cover girl of the 1950s, Dorothy Dandridge and the fearsome teams managing her career dare not disturb the star's astonishing presence. But in the 1960s, Dorothy Dandridge amazingly seizes the potential value of the dance on the white page and releases the sobering story of Little Dottie, the child who pays a huge price for the public to have her celebrated image in the first place. Via this narrative, we see and remember the little black girl forfeited for the sake of our own voyeuristic enjoyment. Little Dottie, abused child, the star declares, accompanies every illustrious image of her. If we do not listen to Little Dottie's footsteps on the white page, then Dorothy Dandridge, for all of her celebrity glory, remains a counterfeit image. Everything and Nothing, the title of Dorothy Dandridge's autobiography, rescues Little Dottie, a young black star, from oblivion. Today, much attention is paid to the troubled childhood of stars such as Drew Barrymore, Tatum O'Neal, Dana Plato, Todd Bridges, Gary Coleman, Macaulay Culkin, and the former king of pop, Michael Jackson. Parents of child celebrities such as Jade Barrymore, Joe Jackson, and Willie and Sue Coleman now receive widespread currency in the discussion of childhood abuse, a careless disregard for the well-being of their children, or both. These stories, however, are about famous people who are white and male, or female, or black and male. Dorothy's rescue of Little Dottie surveys the life of a black female child whose childhood is abbreviated by her success. While Ruby Dandridge, her mother, and Geneva Williams, her mother's lover, acquire through the exploitation of Little Dottie's talents, wealth, and fame, Dorothy's autobiography shows us that the insatiable drive for success at such an early age is at great cost to her emotional and psychological health. Lurking behind the star's beauty and well-designed look are the bruises little Dottie endures both physically and emotionally for Dorothy to become Dorothy Dandridge. Dandridge's narrative acknowledges that even though Hollywood had its penchant for satisfying U.S. society's cultural norms and mapping onto the black female actress's body its desires and stereotypes on celluloid, the industry only shoulders a modicum of culpability in her tragedy. Dorothy Dandridge then arrives on Hollywood's doorstep already defective. Dorothy Dandridge's narrative of childhood trauma is an exceptionally significant text in light of the responses black women made when they heard she was writing her story in the 1960s. Dorothy discloses at the end of her storytelling, one Sunday, late in 1964, as I prepared to do this book and held a contract in my hands, I telephoned some friends to break the news. Much to my astonishment, they said, "What? An autobiography? Who are you to do an autobiography? What have you accomplished? If you tell your story, you'll set Negro womanhood back 100 years. You make a damn poor image of a Negro woman. You will do us no good. Nothing in your career has any meaning for the group." Now, where is the no good in Dorothy's story? The dance of black accomplishment certainly is there. Why is it seen as meaningless? The answers are in her childhood narrative. Now, detailing the salacious details of life as an adult, after all, one could blame the movie industry. That's one thing. But Dandridge's detailed accounts of her childhood trauma in her autobiography put under the microscope highly revered black institutions. Talking about hidden secrets of the black mother and the black church, the pillars of black culture and society leading and guiding black youth, particularly in the 1960s, when the civil rights movement is at its peak, that's blasphemous. Perhaps this context explains why Dandridge's autobiography is published in 1970, 5 years after her death in 1965. Eartha Kitt, The Dance of the Autobiographical Defense. I've been bute and I've been scorned. Yes, I've been bute and I've been scorned. Children, I've been bute and I've been scorned. I've been talked about, shows you born. I remember in the late 1990s watching the banter between the host of a now-canceled talk show and his guest. She was part of the cast for a popular sitcom featuring an ensemble of single black women navigating through life in a northeastern cosmopolitan city. The host asks his guest to name the most difficult actress with whom she has worked. The guest calls out Eartha Kitt, who made a guest appearance on her show. According to the actress, Kitt brought her entourage to rehearsals. She spoke a foreign language, French, she thought, and no one understood a word she said. Her presence proved an interminable challenge for the cast and crew. I'm listening to this insipid chit-chat, witnessing the laughter between the host and the guest, and I think through squinted eyes, they're talking about this woman. There is more. Talk about Kitt moves from the talk show to the sitcom. On an episode from Steve Harvey's show, Harvey's friend and television producer Byron Clark visits Booker T. Washington High School to film a documentary on Harvey. And, of course, students and administrators overact for the film crew. Principal Regina Greer especially tests Clark's patience as she insists on being photographed on her good side. Clark, exasperated, declares, "Oh, she is worse than Eartha Kitt." Kitt is a celebrity autobiographer making the most of the dance of autobiography to take up for herself against the bully of defamation. In the process, the entertainer's dance on the white page at various intervals subverts the speculation of the gossips. The entertainer's textual defenses are crucial because each one reiterates it takes black women to choreograph the steps necessary to take up for themselves and for each other. Taking up for oneself means assuming responsibility to protect the self